Hello and welcome to round 2 of the World Supertech Series from Sachsenring in Germany in association with Race Department. And this is the first of 2 sprint events from the circuit, and Jesper Talborg was fastest in qualifying for race 1, with Jack Keithley behind him in 2nd place on the grid. Ben Testing was 3rd and James Johnson in 4th, so that's 3 Mercedes in a row. Then it was Matazewski in 5th and Najala in 6th. Jari Vinnari was in 7th position, and Sergio Perez was unable to make the start, but he qualified in 8th position. Paolo Tempero was in 9th, and Tomasz Demelin was in 10th place. So as they head towards the start, waiting for the green flag signal, and there it goes. And Talborg and Keithley both make a good getaway, and they're 4 abreast behind as they battle for 2nd position. That's Tusting and Matazewski on the right-hand side of your picture as they head into turn 1. A bit of contact behind, but Keithley breaks later and makes the move stick into turn 1 back past Jesper Talborg, so he moves up a place, and that's James Johnson and Tommy Ajala also getting a good getaway. So let's have a look at replay from the start, and that's Tusting and Matazewski. Yeah, Tusting just didn't quite see Matazewski, and Tempera's obviously spun, and a huge crash there at the back for Wayne Morgan, I think that was, making his way through the pack and collected the spun. Tempera, there's Rasmus Salo, and he's got a huge crash there, hits into the barrier, flips the car, wheels everywhere, and Salo obviously miles behind the pack for the start. Not quite sure what happened there. It looked like he didn't have a rear wing, so it must have been an incident on the formation lap perhaps. But here's Keithley and Talborg, and Keithley's got a bit of a twitch on out of the right-hander, and Talborg makes his way through, but he's run a little bit deep, and Keithley makes his way back past the Danish driver and moves back into the 1st position. So it's Keithley from Talborg and Johnson waiting in the wings. Here's David Junt and Jari Vinnari battling over 8th position. And this is Junt. Very late dive, but makes the move stick past Vinnari. Vinnari trying to squeeze him out, but Junt was already alongside, so Junt makes his way past. Here's Butcher, and he's closing on Tomasz Demelin, and that's for 10th position. Butcher had a very poor qualifying session, started from the back of the field, but he's making amends now, and he's closing up on Demelin through the tight right-handers. This is turn 3 and 4, Castrol and Omega, and Butcher makes his way through past Demelin. Demelin a little bit wide, a little bit of understeer through there, and Butcher seizes the opportunity and makes his way past, and he's moved up into 10th position. So Butcher making good progress early on. Here's Vinnari and Strauss, so Vinnari dropping back a little bit in the early stages, and here's this is Florian trying to make his way through. He's going through on the inside. Little bit of contact there as Vinnari tried to turn in, but Strauss was there, and Strauss makes his way through. A little bit of door banging doesn't go amiss. So here's Keithley, Talborg, and Johnson, the top 3. Then you've got Ajala and Tusting very wide onto the curb, just about keeps it in check. So he continues. Here's Junt and Strauss, and Strauss is making his way through the field quite nicely at present. And he goes up the inside into turn 1, job done. He turns in first and is ahead of David Junt, so that's moved him up a place. So Strauss making good progress. That's Junt all over the curb and getting a little bit airborne there. And here's Butcher and Vinnari, so this is also into turn 1. And Butcher already made his way past Demelin, and he's making his way past Vinnari on the very next lap, so Butcher's still making good progress, and Vinnari really gave him that one, not really wanting to defend too hard. He knew that Butcher was quicker than him at that stage, and Butcher in fact is now closing up on David Junt. This is for 8th position, and look at Butcher all over the back of Junt, and he's going through on the inside. This is a very fast section of the track. This is about this is turn 7 and 8, but Butcher makes his way through. Excellent move from Chris, and he moves up a position, so Junt relegated. So here is Florian Strauss we're looking at. He runs very wide over the curb. We saw Tusting do this. He spins into the wall. Little bit of contact. Gets away with that one, really. It's the front end of his car a little bit damaged from that lap 1 incident, perhaps. But Strauss very lucky to get away with that one. So we've seen Tusting and Strauss both run wide at that final corner and nearly cause themselves damage. Here's Keithley and Talborg, the battle for the lead. And Talborg looking like he's the stronger of the two at the moment, and looking for a way past Keithley, very wide on the curb, and Talborg sneaks up the inside. They're running side by side through the left-hander, and now they're going to be side by side through the right-hander down the hill, and Keithley had the racing line. He moves through, so he retakes his position in the lead, so Talborg's got to do it all over again. Here's Florian Strauss. He's dropped back a little bit after that spin, and he's got to overtake all these people in front of him once again. Look at the way he closed on Demlin through there. This is for 11th position, I think, and Demlin actually eased off and let him go there, really. Strauss definitely the faster of the two. So Strauss moving back up through the field. Here's Butcher and Mataszewski. This is for 7th and 6th position. This is lap 6. And Butcher, very late dive on Mataszewski, goes up the inside. Mataszewski really asleep for that one. Butcher came from a long way back, and Thomas just really didn't cover it. Here's David Junt, also very wide out of the final corner, and got away with it, unlike Strauss. But Vinnari now has got a run on the German, and he goes up the inside into turn 1 and retakes that position, does he? Junt is trying to run a wall of death around the outside, but Vinnari does make that one stick, and he moves up a position. Junt once again trying to come back, but there's no way through there. And here's Mike McGeer and Morten Bernesen. And McGeer, another one who's running very wide out of the final corner, but Bernesen goes up the inside, and he's already got the overlaps and brakes a little bit later as well. And McGeer had to let that one go, really had to yield. Bernesen already a long way through, and he takes the position and moves up a place. That's into 13th position, I believe. And here's Ajala and Tusting. This is the battle for 4th and 5th position. See Chris Butcher behind them in 6th, waiting in the wings. So he's waiting for any mistake that these two might make. And Tusting trying to capitalise on Ajala as they come into the final corner. Very tight, they very slightest of contact. And Tusting pushes Ajala wide a little bit there, but makes his way past Tommy and moves up a place. And here's Butcher all over the back of Ajala, looking to capitalise on Tusting getting past the Audi of Ajala, and he's going to go on the outside of the fast right-hander down the hill. He should have a little bit of a better run, and he does so. He's going round the outside now of Ajala. He'll be on the outside for the left-hander at the bottom of the hill, and this is Saxon Curve, and Butcher goes round the outside and takes the position away from Ajala. An excellent move from Butcher. Braved it there around the outside, but you can do that here. There is plenty of grip offline, and he made that one stick, so good move from Butcher. Moves up into 5th position. Here's Morten Bernesen and Tomas Demlin. Demlin a little bit damage on the left side of his car from an earlier incident, but Bernesen is behind him at this stage and has caught up to the back of Demlin fairly quickly, so maybe Demlin's had an off, and in fact Demlin runs a little bit wide and Bernesen goes up the inside and takes the position into the final corner. That's Queckenberg Curver. And Bernesen moves up a place. Demlin looking to come back on him here actually, but Bernesen has the inside line for the first corner and should defend this one from Demlin. He brakes a little bit later than Tomasz, sorry, and Tomasz, yeah, loses the position to Morten there. So here's Keithley and Talborg, and Johnson looks like he wants to join in this battle as well. And Keithley still just about hanging on to the lead, but here comes Talborg. It's got an overlap. Keithley chops across, and Talborg a little bit sideways there out of the corner, and Johnson looks like he wants to take advantage, and he goes up the inside. It's a double left-hander here, right-hander down the hill, and yes indeed, James Johnson takes the position from Jesper and moves up into 2nd position. Talborg looks like he wants to take it straight back though, but Johnson, wise to that one, covers the position and keeps the place. So here's Wayne Morgan and David Junt battling over 11th position, and David at the moment has the advantage, but Wayne Morgan slips up the inside. Little bit of contact there, but Morgan definitely alongside, so that's okay. And Morgan takes the place away from Junt, who looks to be struggling at this stage a little bit. So here is Jack Keithley leading from Johnson, both in Mercedes, and they lead from the Audi of Jesper Talborg, who is in 3rd place, and Johnson running very wide across onto the bumps, and he drops back behind Jesper Talborg, who managed to keep it on the black stuff, and keeps ahead of Johnson on the exit of Saxon Curve, and he's back into 2nd place, and we'll be looking to retake the lead. Here's Junt and Bernesen, and Junt covers off Bernesen a little bit strongly there, puts Bernesen onto the grass, but Bernesen has the better pace at this stage in his Audi, running a lot lower ride height there than David Junt in the Mercedes. Different cars, of course, but very different ways of setting the car up. Here's Łukasz Demlin and Robert Musgrove, and they're battling as well lower down the field, and Musgrove looking like he wants to go up the inside of Demlin, but Demlin shutting the door, and now Musgrove has got the overlap, and it's a left-hander coming up, so he's takes the position away from Wukash, and as they pile down the hill, looks like he's got that one covered. Back with the leaders then, so it's Keithley followed by Talborg, who is all over the back of Keithley. You have to say that Talborg looks like he's got better pace or better tyres at this stage, and he goes left as they head towards the final couple of corners, and he's going round the outside. He's going to have the outside line, and he's going round the outside of Saxon. Looks like he's making it stick. He's going right round the outside, runs into the curb, but takes the position away from Keithley. It looks like Johnson wants a piece of the action as well, but Keithley's still in behind Talborg, and he wants to take the position straight back again. So it's Keithley looking for a way past. He makes a huge late dive, and Talborg doesn't quite cover it off. It's a little bit of contact on the exit, but Keithley manages to keep this one, or does he? Talborg slides back in front of Keithley. They're still battling, but Talborg has kept the position just about from Jack Keithley. So Talborg does make his way past Keithley, and he moves into the lead. He's Wukash and Musgrove once again having a battle, and Demlin going round the outside of Musgrove. Musgrove a little bit late on the power, got a bit squirrely on the power originally and got onto the curb. So Musgrove trying to make his way back up the inside, no way through there. It's just curb that you're going to run over there, my friend. This is Chris Butcher coming through. There's Ben Tusting and Chris Butcher, and Butcher's run very wide into the pit wall. Huge crash, and he's lost his front right wheel. He's going to be out of the race. He's going to not be able to continue from there, and there goes the wheel. It's got a mind of its own. It's going to run down the racetrack. Let's hope nobody hits that. Back on with the leaders, and it's Keithley and Johnson now on lap 14, and Talborg's made a little bit of a break for it. Here comes Johnson, and he slides underneath Keithley. Keithley obviously has got a bit of a problem with his tyres, perhaps, or maybe he's just dropped off the pace a little bit for one reason or another. Here's the Demlin brothers. Tomasz in front of Wukash at this stage, and Wukash is going up the inside of Tomasz into the first corner. That's a favourite overtaking spot so far in this race, and indeed Wukash makes that position from Tomasz Demlin, and Rob Musgrove now has the other Demlin to fight with. Been fighting with Wukash for a while, and Tomasz runs very wide, and he tries to cover off Musgrove, but Musgrove is already up the inside and takes the position away from Tomasz Demlin. So Demlin making a small mistake, and it could cost you a position. That's how close these cars are. Is Jack Keithley and Ben Tusting now. So Keithley definitely got a bit of a problem with his car, or whatever that might be. Talborg absolutely nowhere to be seen. He's made a huge dash for it, and Tusting goes up the inside of Keithley there and takes the position away in Saxon Curver, and moves up a position into third place. And he's now going to have a go at James Johnson. This is for second. So Tusting, after a little bit of a sedated start, he was very cautious in the early stages. He's now being more aggressive, and he's going up the inside. He's pushed Johnson onto the gravel a little bit, but he moves up past James Johnson and takes the position away. So he moves up into second position now, and is both of them well ahead of Keithley. I wonder what happened to Keithley there. Is Musgrove and Wukash once again, and when have we not been saying that this race? Wukash goes up the inside very late on the brakes, just about going to make the corner, takes the position away from Rob Musgrove once again. So those two still having a ding-dong battle lower down in the field. Here's Demlin now onto the back of David Yunt. This is lap 21 of 26. So only 5 laps left to go, and look how late Wukash is able to be on the brakes, and he ducks underneath Yunt, and he's going to take the position away into the final corner. Bit of a hip and shoulders on the way out, but Yunt's got nowhere to go, and Demlin moves up a position, and he's doing a very good job. But the winner of this race was Jesper Talborg, and he crosses the line now, and an excellent result for him, and he wins by a country mile actually in the end. Great job by the Danish driver, and brings him back into the championship hunt. So the official race results: Talborg was in first place, Ben Tusting in second, James Johnson third, and Jack Keithley, our round 1 winner from Nürburgring, was in fourth place. Ajala 5th, Matuszewski in 6th, Vinnari was 7th, Furnison 8th, Wayne Morgan in 9th, and Wukash made it all the way up to 10th place. Join us for race 2, which will follow shortly.